Welcome to Readyset RC, and today we're doing a little bit of a different video than we typically do. It's a format that I've been thinking about for quite some time. We're going to try it on the channel going forward. So this series is going to be a vlog of my experiences getting into a new sector of the hobby. I know you guys are looking at a DeWalt bag right here, wondering, is he going into tools? No, it's what's in the bag is the new sector of the hobby that I've kind of been focusing on this year. So for you guys that are not comfortable with monologuing or conversation, or kind of me just sharing my thoughts, this series is not going to be for you. You're going to be like, oh, he's talking too much, keep up. That's what this series is for. So for you individuals who don't like to listen to conversation, or for you guys who don't like to listen to someone's thoughts, you may want to click off, check out of the video, enjoy the rest of your day. For those of you that want to hear more of a log of my experiences in this new sector of the hobby, kind of catch on my do's and don'ts, things that worked for me, things that didn't work for me, stay tuned. You're going to enjoy this. Probably a sector of the hobby that a lot of you have been thinking about and just didn't know how to get involved in it. And may have been intimidated, because I will say this sector of the hobby I was intimidated by. And it was good that I had a friend to kind of go through this sector of the hobby together, which was good. So we're both experiencing this at the same level at the same time, which is perfect. So what am I talking about? I think I've kind of showed you guys this bag long enough. Let's go into what's in it. This is what's in there. And what is this? Is this some die cast or whatever? No, this is the Kyosho Mini-Z MA-020. Now, I know the experienced guys are like, why did you go with an MA-020? As I mentioned before, this is going to be me speaking about my trials and tribulation of getting into mini scale RCs, possibly eventually getting to the point where maybe I race them. That's for another discussion. So this was my first Mini-Z. I know they truly do have one that's called My First Mini-Z, which are $50. For you guys that are looking to get into this sector of the hobby, don't do it. Do not buy the My First Mini-Z. It will be your worst experience of a Mini-Z. It's not a good way to get your feet wet into the sector. And even I'm going to tell you now, buying this was something that I would not suggest unless you have a drift course to use it on. So myself and my friend Randy, we both went ahead and we picked up Mini-Zs. Both of us never experienced in this sector of the hobby. Both of us are not race drivers. We don't drive on courses. We're bashers. Street bashing, parking lot bashing, field bashing, construction sites. That's kind of where we like to run our cars and our trucks. So this is one sector of the hobby that we knew nothing about. But kindly enough, we found ourselves at our local hobby shop, which has a track, Island Hobby Nut, and some really good folks to talk to. There's an individual there that we've shared most of this experience with, Ivan, and Ivan has been the best person to kind of walk us through like what to get, what not to get. And sadly enough, we had purchased these RCs before actually speaking to Ivan. Do I have buyer's remorse in picking this up? No, but let me explain to you why I would say for you guys that are looking to get into the sector, don't buy this. This is a four-wheel drive RC. The reason why we picked it up is because, yes, we're bashers. We're used to four-wheel drive RCs. We know the experience with two-wheel drives, and we felt that four-wheel drive is going to be giving us a better experience when we're driving the car. Now, we had no plans on racing. We had plans on possibly going, back to that local hobby shop and going on the track at the time, but no plans on racing. So we picked up the four-wheel drive cars. We changed out the drift tires to standard rubber tires on there. I also changed out my wheels. There's not much done to this. Like, there's nothing done to it other than that. This one comes with like a gyro. It comes with the lights installed. That was the other pieces that I liked. I was like, hey, it has lights. It has a gyro installed. Kudos, those are good things. So that's why I went ahead and picked this up. Took it to the track. It drives really good, but I will say there's a lot of oversteer with it. The tires may be a little too sticky. Like, I probably want to go with maybe a different compound in the front versus the rear. But the piece to it is that when you're driving an all-wheel drive car in not a drift type format, it's going to give you a lot of traction. And that piece of it is what I'm going to stick to, is that the traction on it, it is enormous. So you get a little bit of a traction roll with this car, and which is another reason why I say you may not want to go with all-wheel drive as your first Mini-Z. We had a lot of fun with these, and then we moved on to our second Mini-Z. And here we are to our second car. So Randy and I, we both decided to go pick up rear-wheel drive Kyosho Mini-Zs, which is where I will tell all of you to start off at. If you want to get the most out of the hobby, do not buy the four-wheel drive. Go straight for the two-wheel drive car. Go straight to a 98 millimeter wheelbase. Do not buy the 94, because there are ones that are 94. They're a little bit narrow in the track width. They're a shorter wheelbase. You'll struggle if you're one of the things that you like about this sector of the hobby is the bodies. You will struggle to find bodies for it. So that's why I say go with the 98. So this was my second car. It does not come like this. It does not look like this when you purchase it. This body is a aftermarket body. It's by a company called GL Racing. You can purchase this overseas, or maybe your hobby shop stocks them. I ended up purchasing this from RC Mart. I forgot what the cost is. I'll put the link in the description, but yeah, I bought the body separate because I really like the body, and it fits this standard 98 wheelbase. Now, the chassis underneath is a Kyosho Mini-Z MA-020. These cars are brushed. That's the other piece to it. Both of these cars are brushed. But in this sector of the hobby, you have to know where you plan on running the car. There is nothing wrong with brushed. If you find that at your local hobby shop that does have a Mini-Z track, the key piece is find out what they run. Don't go ahead and buy a brushless car because that's what you're used to. You'll find that that's the most advanced class in racing. And you'll find out that your track, like when we first started on our track, it's not a track conducive to brushless cars. It's more conducive to brushed turns, everything that was on it. It was more suited for a brushed RC. And the speeds on brushed are insane. So don't think because it's a brushed car, it's going to be a snail out there. It's not. There's a lot more to tuning these cars than the motor. A lot of it comes down to the geometry of how it is to the surface, your springs, your bearings. All of these things will improve how this car performs just on speed. I'm not sure if you guys are noticing that there, but I do have a transponder. And why do I have a transponder in there? Because now I want to know, I've gotten to the level of, now I want to know how fast I'm going. I'm still not racing, but I want to know, what am I doing out here? Randy and I, we've spent a few trips out trying to take these cars out and seeing what we're doing. And we finally got to the point where we said we wanted to see how fast are we going? Are we getting any better? And that's mainly the key piece. We wanted to know if we were getting better. We didn't care about, up until this point, we still don't even care about racing. But the good thing about this community is that everyone is there to help you. No one's trying to hoard their secrets and not share them with you to make you a better driver or a better hobbyist in this sector of the hobby. And that's what I found was amazing. Both of us, myself and Randy, were intimidated thinking that, you know, this sector of the hobby, a lot of guys would be kind of race snobs and not want to share. And, you know, if you collided with them or anything, that they would act like jerks. Hasn't been the case. Has not been the case. This is fairly stock, other than I'm running, you know, kind of mediums in the front and softers in the rear to give me a little bit more traction. These are Marca tires in the front, and you'll hear these names: PN Racing, Marca, Kyosho, Next, which is another brand out there. These are all the brands you're going to hear when it comes to Mini-Z, and don't be intimidated by them. If you feel more comfortable in buying all Kyosho parts, kudos to you. That's good for you. If you feel that you want to be that racer and you want to buy Marca everything and PN Racing everything, good to you too. If you feel that that's all you want to run, Geo Racing bodies because you like the looks of them, kudos to you too. Everything is dependent on what you feel is best for you in the hobby. Now, once I got a taste of all-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, now I started to wonder who else makes good Mini-Zs. Now, there are a ton of cars that you can buy from overseas, from Banggood and AliExpress. Now, I don't know which one's good, which one's not good. Some of these guys that post the stuff up on Instagram and YouTube, you know, they're influencers. They're looking for, you know, trying to sell the RC or sell those particular cars. They may not fit the niche that you're looking for. So I just don't buy any of them. But what did I buy? I bought the Team Associated SR27. As you guys can see, it's the Datsun 240Z, a licensed body. And that's the other piece to it too. The Kyoshos are all licensed bodies, which is beautiful. So ready to run, comes with everything. This beautiful case that you see here. I'm not using a DeWalt case for this car. Now, since I've purchased this car, I've modded it quite a bit, done quite a bit to it. Not exactly sure where the shell is at this point, so I'll show you what I'm running on there. And I went through a couple different iterations. You guys are going to see, funny as hell, what the controller is. Yes, it's an SLT controller, and it's by Team Associated. So you guys are seeing what is going on here. It has the 50, 75, and 100 throttle limiter. The reverse switch is here. The same button that we see on the SLT controllers, the SLT2 controllers. You have your steering dual rate and your steering trim. This does have a gyro in it, but I do recommend turning it off. And we'll talk about that a little bit. This is the little case. Comes with bits and bobs in there. We're not going to talk about that. That's, as I said, this is a vlog, not a review. Now you guys see what I'm running on here. Now this is a Kyosho Mini-Z MA-020 body, but this is the 94 millimeter wheelbase body. There's not too many of them. And you can also see that the track width is a little bit more narrow. You'll also notice I'm not running the lenses in there for lights. And why? Because there was a little bit of rubbing that I saw that I had to do some modifications to get this body to fit. Now, the Team Associated cars, they look like a very old version of the Mini-Zs, which means a lot of the parts that you'll find from the Mini-Zs can work on this car. So I'm running the T-plate, which gives me a little bit more stiffer action in the rear on this car. I'm running a Kyosho body. I have the mount for the body in the front, and they clip perfectly onto the car. So you can run Kyosho bodies on here. I'm actually running Kyosho tires and wheels in the rear. I'm running the Team Associated wheels in the front, but I'm running the Kyosho tires instead. So you guys see, even Team Associated is trying to get into the game. I would say if you're a person that really likes to tune, and I'm one of those guys, I like to tune, figure things out, great platform for it. Price point is excellent getting there. You'll probably spend close to $40 to $50, depending on where you buy it from, less than the Kyosho Mini-Zs. And depending on which Kyosho Mini-Z you buy, you'll probably get that price point. But you will spend a lot of time trying to tune this thing to run on a Mini-Z track. And that's what I found. I found that, you know, it was a little bit of a trial and error in regards to getting this thing to perform right. The gyro was one thing that needed to be turned off. You can turn the gyro off. It gives it a wobbly, gives it a little bit of a wobbly performance, even if you turned it all the way down.
Well, that's pretty clean.
It gives it a little bit of a wobbly performance when you're trying to run the straightaways. And even if you turn it all the way down, you lose your steering rate. So you have to keep you have to keep it on. So the key piece to it, turn it off, trim your car with your steering dual rate as you like. That's what I did. And it performs a lot better without the gyro on. Speed-wise, it's okay. It's probably good for a box stock class. And just to touch on that too, there's several classes depending on where you run. There's 4 different classes on the track that I run at, but you have to find what class is going to be best for you. As I said, I don't race, so I'm doing 0 classes. So that is another way you can get into this sector of the hobby. And lastly, I want to state, take your time. Don't rush. These bodies are going to be amazing to you. You're going to be like, oh, I got to get this one. I want to get this one. I want to get that body. I want to get that body. The key thing to remember is I told you 98 millimeter chassis is the ones that you want to go to, because what I've seen a lot of people do is because they release so many different versions of these bodies, the chassis are all the same. So all you need to do is spend the $50 on the body and you're golden. They'll fit on the car. All you got to do is change the plate in the front. $50 and you have a brand new car. So if you're one of those people that love the bodies of the cars and you feel you got to buy every Kyosho Mini-Z that's out there, you don't, just buy the body. Chances are they'll release the body. If they release the car, they'll release the body. They'll do a limited run and then they'll shut it down, and then who knows, in the next year or two, they'll release it all over again. I'm going to wrap this episode here. The next segment, we're going to talk about what's alternatives to your local track. I know for me, time is always an issue. I can't always get out to my local track. I have a full-time job. I commute into New York City. There's times that I do work from home, and those are the times that I do get to go to the track. I have 2 kids, one in college, another one in high school is involved in sports. So my weekends are all him, because he's the one that I'm taking to the sports. Those are the times that, I would get an opportunity to go to the track. So we'll talk about alternatives to that in the next video, but we're going to leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram to see updates to this segment. This is Readyset RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.